What's up, guys? It's your boy Cam, and I am here with another video. Let's get straight into this episode of NXT Inferno. We have a contract signing with William Regal. So William Regal's in the ring. He's about to host a contract signing between Adam Cole and Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar comes out by himself with no Legado del Fantasma. He grabs William's mic and says, "Before you introduce the quote-unquote self-proclaimed face of the brand, let me show you who's the real face. That's me, Santos Escobar." Santos says Adam has been on a downward spiral in the last couple of years, in the last year, while he has had a breakout year. Adam Cole comes out all serious and sits down. Santos smiles as Adam just has this stone cold look on his face. And Santos signs the contract and passes it to Adam Cole. But what Santos does is he leaves the pin in the middle of the table, and Adam can't reach it because his arm is in the sling. So Cole grabs the pin. So Cole grabs the pin with his other hand and signs it. And Santos gets a little chuckle out of this because he did that on purpose, knowing that he injured Adam Cole. Adam Cole signs the contract with the other hand, and Regal makes the match official. Regal makes the match official. And what Cole does before he leaves, he super kicks Santos right out of his chair, signaling that he still hasn't forgotten what Santos did to him a couple weeks ago, and showing that Adam Cole is not a pushover. 88 pretty good. So Maya Awitani comes out. She doesn't kick off the show, but she's sitting out on commentary for the match, for the number one contenders match between Tegan Nox and Jordynne Grace. And in that match, Tegan Nox defeated Jordynne Grace in 14:37 by pinfall with the Vulture Culture Destroyer. Tegan 48, Jordynne Grace with the better rating of 50. Both women killed it, had a 54. That's pretty good. So Tegan Nox is the number one contender as she will face Maya Awitani at NXT TakeOver in Your House. Tegan stands on the rope telling Maya that the gold will come to the shiniest wizard, and Maya holds up the NXT Championship. So Tegan Nox is the number one contender for Maya Awitani's NXT Women's Championship. 75, pretty good rating. So after what happened when Everrise cost Pete Dunne a match against Keith Lee last week, Malcolm comes out with Everrise and he calls out Pete Dunne. And Pete Dunne cuts him off and says that it was entertaining having Malcolm around for the first few weeks, but now he's costing him matches and costing him NXT championships. Pete Dunne tells Malcolm that he doesn't want to join this group because he's a singles guy and the bruiserweight walks along. And Vivian says that's unfortunate. And Everrise swarms Pete Dunne, but Brian Pillman Jr. comes for the save. And it looks like it's going to be Pillman and Dunne versus Everrise. But what happens is Brian Pillman gives Pete Dunne a low blow. Brian Pillman, Malcolm Bivens, and Everrise stand tall with Pete Dunne laid out holding the family jewels. So I knew this was going to happen when I started this series. I wanted Malcolm Bivens to be a more integral part of the show since I didn't use him in that first year. And who did I want him to manage? I wanted him to manage some lower end guys like Everrise and people like Brian Pillman Jr. that didn't have anything to do, but now I'm giving them something to do. And I like this little, I won't say faction, but I like this little group between Everrise, Malcolm Bivens, and now Brian Pillman Jr. 39. It was a little bit better than I expected. I didn't expect much, but I'm glad it was 39. And the belt that didn't have much heat in terrible wrestling, the Beautiful People defeated Tasha Steelz, Skylar Story, Marina Shafir in 17:25 when Chelsea Green submitted Skylar Story. Tay 30, Paris 27, Chelsea Green 44, Marina 30, Skylar 34, and Tasha 36. 57. So Robert Stone claps as Chelsea, Tay, and Paris win their first match as a trio here on Inferno. Renee Michelle stands on the rampway as she has had a few incidents with the Beautiful People over the last couple weeks. The Beautiful People and Robert Stone says it's 1 versus 3. And that's until Casey Canzaro and Kaden Carter jump Tay and Paris from behind. Renee and Chelsea go at it, but Renee Michelle, Kaden Carter, and Casey Canzaro take out Robert Stone and the Beautiful People. So it looks like Renee Michelle is the one that gets the upper hand on this week against the Beautiful People. 78. So Tenille's waiting in the parking lot looking for Rhea because Rhea's just been ignoring her the last couple weeks ever since she came onto Inferno and attacked Tenille. And Rhea finally arrives, and Tenille asks Rhea, what has gotten into you? You must have some nerve. First you attack me, then you ignore me. And Rhea just laughs and says she knew it. And Tenille asks what's so funny. Rhea says, all Tenille does is care about what other people think, what others think. That's why she failed in WWE. That's why she failed in NXT before she came back. People say you've changed ever since you came back to NXT, but I still see the scared little princess who changed gimmicks because of what internet trolls say. Ooh, Rhea Ripley trying to cut in a little deep to Tenille Dashwood. Rhea says Tenille isn't worth her time. And Tenille, being a lot upset about this, she attacks Rhea relentlessly, and she throws her through the arena glass door. So, what has Tenille just done? Tenille has just snapped. She just threw Rhea Ripley over through some glass, and Rhea just cut up bloody everywhere. And referees and road agents come out and tell Tenille to get away from the arena, and they check on Rhea Ripley. So Tenille just snapped and just threw Rhea Ripley over the glass door. But Rhea might have had it coming to her, but she didn't have to say that to Tenille. But goodness. 62, and about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Trey Miguel and Leo Rush defeated Motor City Machine Guns in 1350 when Leo pinned Alex Shelley at Rush Hour after a distraction from the one and only James Drake. Leo 52, Trey 61, Alex Shelley 74, Chris Sabin 68. 69. Okay, so Motor City Machine Gun lost again, but this time it was due to Grizzly Young Veterans. Motor City Machine Guns are angry because they just can't win a match right now, and they chase Grizzly Young Veterans backstage as a brawl ensues and spills into the ringside area. Alex Shelley hits James Drake with a steel chair as he and Chris Sabin give Zach a Made in Detroit in the ring. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are still angry that they lost, and they can't do nothing about it, so they leave the ring. So GYV said Motor City don't have it anymore, and Motor City, I don't know, they've been losing they lost to FTR, they lost to MSK, they lost in the Dusty Classic. No, they didn't lose to FTR, they lost to Mustache Mountain, but they've been losing the last couple matches. And Grizzly Young Veterans have a point, but they lost to Grizzly Young Veterans this time too. So can Motor City Machine Guns turn it around, or is Grizzly Young Veterans right all along? 63, Kendrick and Nice, so Trey and Leo are backstage. Kendrick and Nice says this is the problem with NXT. Newbies get the spotlight while the old guard is getting pushed out. Nice tells Leo that he should be packing his bags and getting him his water. Basically, call back on what Leo said happened in real life. Kendrick says, we've been putting on great matches before you and Trey's nuts have even dropped. So Kendrick says him and Nice will no longer be pushed out, but they will be on the marquee. So Kendrick and Nice do not like being pushed out by the new guard, as they say. And that's why they attacked Leo Rush a couple weeks ago. In a decent match, Mark Andrews defeated Ace Austin when Ace Austin was disqualified when Jake something ran in and attacked Mark Andrews. 58 from Ace, 54 from Mark. Pretty good match. Pretty good rating as well. Jake is super pissed from what happened last week when Morgan Webster cracked him in the leg with a steel pipe. He chokeslammed Mark Andrews through the announcer's table, and Morgan Webster gets on Jake's back trying to get him off, but Ace kicks him off Jake. Ace hits Morgan with a 450, laying him out. Ace Austin and Jake Something get the last laugh this week. You know Ace Austin and Jake Something wasn't going to have them being laid out last week. They weren't going to have it, so that's where they got their revenge this week. And I think, wasn't it just a ploy all along? They didn't care about winning the match. They cared about making a statement. 47, and about that had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. I had to give the card some more matches. I had about 5, but I think 6 matches is where it's normally at. So I had to put another match. And Killian Dane, just give him some momentum. Killian Dane defeated EJ Nunca in 8:43 by pinfall at the Belfast Blitz. Killian Dane off his game, 44. EJ Nunca, 42. Even though it's not a good rating, I don't like this angle. So we're in a bar in Florida. Last week I promised a special look into Michelle Thomas, formerly known as Santana Garrett. So we're in a bar in Florida. We see people getting drinks, hanging out, and the camera pans to Michelle Thomas drinking some whiskey, or drinking whatever. A man walks up to her and says, "I was sitting there." Michelle says, "You move it, you lose it." The man says, "I don't hit girls, but," and Michelle says, she turns around and says, "But what?" The man says, "Move out my seat." Michelle cracks him over the head with whatever she was drinking, and she starts dragging him all across the bar, smashing glasses and spilling beer. Not bear, beer. She gives him a handspring back elbow to the face when he was laid out on the door, and Michelle says, "Put it on his tab." And everyone just looking like, man, this woman is crazy. Everyone looks as she drives off on her motorcycle. So my nickname for her is the Maverick Michelle Williams, and Maverick means she's a loner. And I don't know. She looks like a no nonsense. I don't know. She takes no nonsense from anybody. So we'll see what happens with her. But Michelle Thomas is on the scene. 80. This was better than I thought it was gonna be. So Kathy interviews Yori Katamatsu about what happened last week. And Yori said he had it coming. He says that was coming from a place of arrogance, and it's not him. He wants to apologize to Tyler Bate because he was raised on respecting your opponent. Tyler Bate comes in and he says Yori Katamatsu doesn't need to apologize because he was right. He has been a tag team guy ever since he lost to Pete Dunne at NXT TakeOver Chicago all those years ago. He has been on the back burner as a singles. Tyler says he punched Yori to remind him that he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Yori says you can be one of the best by already being all of them. So that makes me the best wrestler on the planet. So Yori said he wasn't going to be arrogant, but yeah, and that's a little arrogant statement right there. Tyler says we'll see about that and walks off. So Tyler doing what most baby faces don't do. They realize that the heel, well, I won't say Yori's a heel, but he realized that the other was right. And Tyler punched Yori, not because that he was right, but he punched him to remind him that Tyler Bate is one of the best wrestlers on the world. And Yori says we'll see about that. 54, pretty good. Okay, and about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Ilya Dragunov, Marcel Bartel, and Alexander Wolf defeated Leon Ruff, Warhorse, and Jeet Rama when Ilya Dragunov defeated pinned Jeet Rama with a torpedo Moscow. Alexander Wolf, 41, Marcel Bartel, 56, Ilya Dragunov, 59, Jeet Rama, 47, Warhorse, 41, and Leon Ruff, 47. Pretty good match. Decent angle too. So Ilya laughs and says, "Dragon, that's the best you got?" Ilya points to Marcel and Alexander Wolf says, now that's what's the best I got. Ilya says he called a couple of his buddies to turn this godforsaken mat and make it mean something. Ilya says Lucha Libre is the reason why wrestling is dying. So Ilya's still throwing shots at Lucha Libre. Marcel says, yes, good mate. Yes, my good mate. This place is littered with imbeciles and marks who think flips and dives are the way to go. We came to purify this place, and that starts with you, Dragon Lee. So Ilya, Marcel, and Alexander Wolf leave. 88, pretty good. So Io tells Kamiko that next week they're in tag team action to get ready for NXT TakeOver in Your House against Rosemary and Alyssa. Io, even though she accepted on her and Kamiko's behalf, Kamiko is still an unknown entity at this point. Io says that she needs to know that she can trust Kamiko not only next week, but in a few weeks' time. Kamiko says, whatever you need help in, I'm here for you, is why she sent me. Io tells Kamiko to cut the crap and tell her who it is. Kamiko says, only when she's ready, she will reveal herself. Kamiko says next week, she says see you next week to Io and leave. And Io is still looking perplexed because she does not know who is this she. 71. Boa is the one who checks on Kushida, since Kushida was the one that checked on Boa last week. And Kushida just got beat by Dane last week backstage. And Boa says he's sorry that he got Kushida in this mess. Kushida says that Boa has nothing to apologize for. This is Killian Dane's fault. Kushida stares down the camera and says, "Dane, me versus you at TakeOver in a street fight." And Kushida leaves the trainer's room. And the camera just pans over to Boa, who's just nodding his head, smiling. So yeah, Kushida. He just nodding his head comedically at this point and says, yeah, what he said. And he leaves. So a little bit of a lighthearted moment, but we possibly could have Kushida versus Killian Dane at TakeOver. We'll see what happens. And if you're wondering where this storyline go, don't worry. I got a plan for it. And it should be something interesting. I don't think I've done this before, but it should be pretty interesting. And I don't think they thought about this storyline in real life, but it could be interesting. Remember what Boa said to Kushida, that Kushida had major influence over Boa's wrestling career. And now Kushida and Boa are together against Killian Dane. I don't know. No spoilers, but I don't know. Sheesh. I did not think this was going to be that good. So Keith Lee says, "I'm not in a talking mood, but if you want this, come get it." No music hits the PA, and Keith Lee is visibly frustrated since he's been dealing with this whole Dominik Dijakovic thing. And Keith says, "So no one is man enough to face me?" And out of nowhere from the crowd is some deranged man with a cart, that's supposed to be with the C, with a cart full of weapons that includes chairs, kendo sticks, and a barbed wire baseball bat. It's Mance Warner. Yes, Mance Warner is in NXT. And they have a good match. Thank you, they finally clicked. And about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Keith Lee defeated Mance Warner in the last man standing match when Mance Warner could not beat a 10 count after a power slam. Keith Lee makes defense number 4 of the NXT Television Championship. Keith Lee, 77, Mance Warner, 44. And Mance Warner is here because of the partnership with MLW. I heard about Mance Warner a couple months ago, and I looked at some of his videos. Okay, this guy's pretty good. So I just went ahead and got him in this partnership. The same MLW is the same place where I got Alexander Hammerstone, and I had Mance Warner here for a couple weeks, and I was just waiting to debut him, and this was the perfect time. And Mance is only here on a one-night appearance. So think about Cody's open invitation. You know how War Horse was on there one time? Yeah, this is that type of deal, but Mance Warner came here and gave us a great match rating. And a good angle, too. 79. Not good as 86, but man, you won't hear me complain about 79. So a bloody Keith Lee is barely standing in the last man standing match. Keith Lee closes the show standing tall in an absolute war with Mance Warner. Dominik Dijakovic jumps Keith Lee with a knee to the back. Dominik gives Keith Lee a feast your eyes through a table, laying him out. And Ken Shamrock says, "We told you, or else." So Dominik Dijakovic attacked his former best friend Keith Lee. They've been giving him not subliminals, but they've been telling him they want the championship. And Keith Lee really hasn't done much to give them an answer. So they put it in their own hands. So tell me what you thought down below. I thought this was a good show. Good match ratings, good angles, some good surprises, and Mance Warner. So we get a 76. Pretty good show. So tell me what you thought down below, and have a blessed one. See you when I see you. Peace.